Good morning. Okay, so for the case of the marker here, this is my 5-minute talk on my own presentation, my own topic. Okay, good morning. Thanks for having me. My name's Nathan. Today I'm going to give you guys a little 5-minute talk, and I want to start by asking you guys a question. Do you think the Christian life is a bit like a marathon, or is it more like a relay race? Hold that thought. Okay, marathon. Okay, so just hold that thought, think about it. And what I want to do now is just tell you a story about a guy that I recently heard about, and I found him really interesting, and he helps to illustrate what I think about this question. So this guy's name is Kirk Franklin. You may know him. He's quite famous. He's a famous American gospel singer and writer and preacher. But I'll tell you his story anyway. So Kirk Franklin started out, born in Texas, America, in 1970. He was abandoned as a baby. And he was brought up by his elderly aunt. And look, his elderly aunt did the best she could, but as a result of Kirk not having a positive father or male role model in his life, Kirk basically had a pretty awful childhood and upbringing. He went from one mistake to the next. And by the time he was a teenager, he'd been kicked out of school for bad behaviour. His girlfriend was pregnant, and soon one of his best friends was shot and killed in a shooting incident. So from here, Kirk found his way to church. And then this is where Kirk's life takes a turnaround. Kirk had his life spoken into by a number of godly people, and as a result, he is now lives a successful life. He's happily married, he has children, he's a Grammy Award-winning musician, he's a writer, and he's a Christian preacher. So he's done really well. So you might be asking yourself, why am I telling you this story? That's turned off. Is that still working, or...? It's still working. Right. Bear with me. Okay, so you might be asking yourself, why am I telling you this story? What has it got to do with the question? But I will tell you soon. But first of all, I just want to read you a passage of scripture written by the Apostle Paul that tells us a little bit how the Christian life is like a sporting race. Do you not know that in a race all runners run, but only one gets the prize? Run in such a way that you get the prize. Everyone who competes in the games goes into strict training. They do it to get a crown that will not last, but we do it to get a crown that will last forever. Therefore, I do not run like someone running aimlessly. I do not fight like a boxer beating the air. No, I strike my body and make it my slave, so that after I have preached, I myself will not be disqualified for the prize. So look, this is a passage that I'm sure you've all heard before, and we can glean a lot of information about our Christian life from this passage. But there's one point I want to make from it, and it's the point that Paul makes how our Christian life isn't like an individual sporting event. And he says that when he contrasts the two. He says, in an individual sport, only one gets the prize. But then he says that in our Christian life, we do it to get a crown that will last forever. And then he also goes on to say that I have preached to others. But again, as we know in an individual sport, there's no need to share your knowledge or your skill with others. It's an individual sport. You're competing against them. So that's what I want to kind of talk a little bit about more. And getting back to Kirk's life story now, I think his life story is a really good example of a life being run as an individual event. And that's in his former years when he had no one to role model or teach him in God's ways, and life was tough. It was largely unsuccessful. Then a life run like a relay race where he had godly people role model for him, teach him about Jesus, and speak into his life so that his life would become a successful Christian life. So this is an example of how I think our Christian lives should be more like a relay race than an individual marathon. In my life, myself, I know that I'm guilty of running my life, running my life like an individual marathon. And in those times where I've kept my faith to myself and I haven't shared it with others or been a positive role model, I've seen that in others they haven't grown. And in particular my children, during these times, they haven't learnt how to live a godly life. They haven't learnt more about Jesus. So as a result, I can't expect them to live a successful life if they don't know how to live a successful life through the role modelling of other Christians. So really, I want to finish up soon because I know that time's running out, but I want to ask you guys here, how are you going in running your life? Are you running your life like an individual marathon where you're keeping your faith journey to yourself? Or are you running it like a relay team? Are you sharing your faith with others? Are you role modelling positively how Christ is in your life? I think it's really important that we try to run our lives like a relay race, not like an individual marathon. So, to finish up, look, I think our Christian lives are a lot more, or should be a lot more, like a relay race than an individual marathon. So let us run our races well, but let us not forget to run our races with others. Thank you.